we are an English language focused company, and we use technology to the hilt to ensure that it reaches to the masses. So I have scalable learning solution for the masses. We recently launched a tablet-based product and mobile-based product, and we've seen some success in that regard. Coming back to the topic, I'm saying no statistics, please. So as a nation, we are obsessed with statistics. What is the percentage of people who are getting employed, not employed, and all of those data. We know that employability gap is bad. Employability gap in high growth sector is very bad, okay? And implication for an expanding economy is horrible. So let's not talk about statistics. Let's try and show some examples that we can take. And as a company or as an organization, government organization, we need to have some initiatives that show us solutions to these problems, right? So what do? We train. What else? Okay. This is an excellent example. Manish Sabharwal from TeamLease has written an Economic Times article about vocational skills in schools. So are we ready as a nation to look at bigger issues like bringing vocational training into the school curriculum itself, rather than just talking about 6 months or 2 months of training and ensuring that people get employed and with the highest kind of skill set available? It's not going to happen. Okay, hard skill areas, certain areas with 6 months of training, you can do some changes. But in softer skills areas, you can't change people in a span of 2 or 3 months. You need 12 years or 10 years of dedicated effort to have that mindset in place. So are we ready as a nation to force or have some policy of ensuring that 25% of kids after class 8 or class 10 go to a vocational stream? And there are examples, countries abroad, that do those kind of stuff. So why can't we look at these bigger issues and take them at face value and handle them if we really are serious about handling this particular employability gap? Okay? These are examples. So if I divide vocational training, there are two major segments: hard skills, soft skills. In hard skills, there are very lot of good examples about how we can bring in technologies to train people. But if you look at our institutions, even institutions like IIT, who are well funded, you will find old equipments. Now you're talking about vocational skills that require hands-on training. And hands-on training of this level, so we're talking about flight simulator at one end, that level of training should also be there. You talk about a carpenter job, you talk about a mason job, how will you give that hands-on feel? Now this is an example of an EPSS, electronic performance support system, and it's used by major automobile manufacturers to train their employees, and this is available while they're doing stuff. So they put in the eyeglasses and the entire schema is in front of them and they get trained on the job. Now, are we ready again from a private as well as public perspective to bring in these kind of funds to have these technologies available? Are we ready to make those investments, right? So on the hard skill, there's a huge challenge of capital investment. And someone will have to make that capital investment if you want a real hard skills thing to happen. On the softer skills, now here's another example. A security guard who speaks English makes rupees 8,500 per month, relative to average security wage of 4,500. Just by adding this bit of English, he is increasing his average monthly income by 4,000 bucks. Now, you need more such examples, and how will you get that? So can you get in more devices into the system? Can you have, even for soft skills, for example, tablet is just one thing, but there are a whole lot of devices that we need to think about so that the person who's getting trained has access to that device 24/7. And again, we are not into the system of 2-month program, 3-month program, and hoping that soft skills will happen in 2 or 3 months' time. It's not going to happen. You need access to lots of devices, technology, as well as mindset change from government and private institutions to bridge this gap, right? Talking about relevant pedagogy, okay? So as a nation, we are at the stage 1, transmission, monologue, tell methodology. We have to go to level 3. Now level 2 is we're saying generative. When you are doing discussion in the class, the process is equally important. Can you involve your student in inquiry and discovery during content dissemination? Third stage, we're saying, can you take whatever you learn to the real outside world and make it happen? So if you look at from the content perspective, there is traditional content. Content and process is equally important to actively engage users. And then you say, think critically about the world. And that is when social transformation is also going to happen. Otherwise, it's just a matter of showing things. And these are examples. So the first stage thing is created by experts. The generative thing is structure is created by the experts, and the community pumps in the content. So it's like Wikipedia kind of content. And the third stage, which is the critical stage, we're saying that content and community both creates relevant local content. Again, very important for vocational training. You need to have localized content created by community. Now, community radio is a soft skill example where there's some bit of community related content is being done. But we need more examples of localized content and not content that is just borrowed from outside and put it in Indian system, right? I will just end my presentation with series of examples of educational technologies available. Another example, FarmVille, it's a Facebook application where community owners create sites virtually. So you can actually trade mangoes, goods, and all of that. And you learn the process, you learn agriculture process in the interim. So you need to also, while you're training vocational people, you need huge level of motivation. These people are not motivated to learn. So you need to have interesting games and technology and community link things to push training down their throat. This is example of location-based training. So you can actually take your mobile phone, click on a picture of an automobile, and it will give you this is this particular part with these many details and entire specifications. So location-based training is now possible. There are companies doing it abroad. This is our solution where we created a trolley which has the tablet with centralized charging and with 6 to 7 hours of battery backup. So when you don't have electricity and inconsistent electricity, you can actually charge this and use 7 hours of time in the classroom while you are training people. This is again example of movie-based approach called language subtitling. So you can actually, we've taken a clip of Sholay movie and we have used that as a motivational thing to introduce concepts of English. Again, interesting example. This is an example from Africa, Kinkajou microfilm projector. Now this projector runs out of solar power. It's a microfilm-based projector, and they're actually running in Mali classes at night, literacy classes at night. Are we ready to bring in these kind of solutions to India? Audio computer available at $300, $400, and it does what all computer does, except for visually it's not capable. But a whole lot of features there. This is an example in Bihar. People are learning, school students are learning, 65,000 primary schools people are learning English through a radio in Bihar, in India. But how many of us are aware of these issues? We just talk about statistics. So my view is move away from statistics, move to the field, and have some interesting solutions down for all of us. Thank you.